Welcome back to Speargrass Forge. If you're new here, thanks for coming. If you're coming back, thanks for returning. Today, I'm going to be talking about something very important, your warm-ups and stretching before you get into forging. Stick around.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises, way hey up she rises early in the morning. Drunken sailor, what shall we do with the drunken sailor?
Okay, so while my forge is heating up, I've just lit it up. There are a couple of things that I like to do in order to prepare myself for working at the forge for the day. Now, I'm no expert, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a physio. However, my background, I do have several years experience as a sports med, active on field and prior and after games for physical contact sports here in Australia. I'm also an active martial artist, so preparation, stretching and warming up is something that I do on a regular basis. Not only in my forge, but for when I am participating in sports, and also for stuff that I used to do with the contact sports here in Australia. Now, fortunately, you have everything you need in the forge to be able to warm up. Now, being a physically demanding hobby, some of the areas that most people have a lot of issue with is, of course, in the hands, wrists, elbows, and ligaments regarding the elbows, shoulders, and back. Now, a lot of the stuff that you can do to prolong your working time as either a hobby smith or a professional blacksmith, of course. More professional blacksmiths will be aware of some of the stuff that can help them prolong their working life in the sense of, correct hammer grip. And I'm not going to go into that because there are several styles of gripping a hammer and better ways rather than, of course, a death grip, which is literally a death grip. It will cause issues later on. I'll go into how I hold a hammer, which some people are proponent for, some people are against. Of course, loose grip is the key. However, what mainly we're going to be going into this morning is some of the stuff to help warm up the joints and get yourself ready to minimise injury over the course of your smithing. Now, some of the tools that we can use to warm up are, of course, something that you use every day when you're out in the forge, and that's, of course, your hammers. Now, these will provide weights, different weights that you can use to warm up your joints and stuff like that. And in a moment, I'll go through some exercises that I do in order to warm up. Now, what we'll be doing is dynamic stretching and dynamic warm-ups. So these aren't your usual static stretching. Of course, you should do some static stretching after your dynamic stretching and dynamic warm-ups. Not too much though. Static stretching cold can actually detriment your muscles and ligaments. Once you warm up though, it's fine to do. So one of the first things that I do is I take a moderately sized hammer. Of course, this is my regular working ball peen hammer. It's maybe 1 kilo in weight, and I start off with some dynamic movements that may or may not be used in the forge. However, this mainly is to warm up the wrists and the rotating muscles in the elbow. Now, of course, it doesn't look like much, but these do warm up and stretch the wrist and the elbow muscles in here. Of course, some people already have issues with the elbow regarding muscle tightness or tennis elbow. I recommend seeing your doctor, talking to a physio about any issues you have that are pre-existing with that. And of course, one of the recommended things is rest and stretching. I'm not going to comment on further on that. Again, I'm not a medical professional. So just turning the hammer in a clock or spinning motion, and then rotating the hammer, and of course being weighted, it does give you a little bit of resistance doing that. Of course, you can also turn it upside down, do the same type of movement the opposite way, and of course do it stretched out, because that way you're actually working your shoulder and your elbow at the same time, as well as the wrist. And again, in a circular motion. And of course, don't forget the other wrist. A lot of people forget their tong arm, and it's the same type of motion, particularly with the tong arm, because you do manipulate the tongs in a flipping and turning motion a lot more than you do your hammer arm. Of course, I'm a little bit uncoordinated. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have two hammers, you can always do two hands at the same time. And of course, moving your arms out into different positions and doing the same movements works a different set of muscles. I only need to do about 10 seconds worth of each movement in each different position. Again, this is dynamic stretching, so it's not only warming up your muscles, but it's also providing some of the stretches that you will need to do before you do static stretching. So, the next movement is, of course, your striking movement. Now, don't hit anything with this. This is a full flowing movement, right? Also allows you to practice your hammer grip nice and, for me, it's I use a pinch grip, not a fully enclosed grip. I use a pinch grip, nice and relaxed. And of course, all I'm doing is bringing my hammer arm up and letting it follow through in order to stretch out my shoulder and stretch out the tendons and muscles in the back part of the arm. You'll notice on the downstroke, as my arm is fully extended, I'm stretching these muscles all the way down the back of my hand and right up to my shoulder, and that's why I follow through to enable that stretch the full extension as possible. And again, nice and relaxed grip on the hammer, as long as you're not throwing across the forge. Again, both arms. It helps to, I'm just doing it in the gap between my anvil, but both arms again, so that you get an even balance of stretching and warm up. Make sure you keep your back straight. The next exercise I do is a nice and simple one. Open up the chest muscles, getting the stretches in the shoulders. Again, this is warming up the chest. Whilst you do this, you can also do some neck rolls, however that can throw you off balance, so if it does, just the neck rolls. We spend a lot of time looking down at the anvil, stretching the neck, working the hammer whilst we're looking down the anvil, of course, so stretching the neck muscle can prevent neck and upper back issues as well. Of course, you can. This is the point where you can start doing static stretching as well. You've started to warm up the muscles. You've started to you've already done some dynamic stretching, so we can start working into the static stretching now. So, of course, stretching the neck over, keeping your back straight, chest open. Again, only needing 10 seconds for each. Hands behind the head, pushing using your hands to push your chin to your chest, whilst using your neck muscles to push back against it. This will stretch the muscles in the back of your neck and the upper part of your spine. Same thing for the front of the neck. Working the front of the neck muscles is hands on the forehead, pushing back and using your neck muscles to push your head forward. Now also, if you start to feel any pain doing any of these exercises, stop. Stop immediately, rest, see a medical practitioner. Now, of course there are the typical arm and shoulder stretches. You should always do them, even during the day. Stop and stretch out your muscles whilst you're actually working. I'm not the most flexible person on the planet, but I still make sure that I maintain my range of mobility. So, a good stretch to stretch the muscles in the inside of your arms as well as the outside. Stretching your legs and lower back muscles that you can do at the anvil. Your anvil should be about knuckle high. So if you put your fingertips on your anvil, take a step back, keeping the rear leg straight, lower back straight, and then lean into your anvil, dropping the heels of your palms down below the level of your anvil, keeping your back straight. That will stretch the rear part of your legs, your glutes, lower back, and your inside forearm muscles. Again, only needing to hold for about 10 seconds. Make sure you do both sides. Chin up. And of course, make sure you shake it out, get the blood circulating back through your hands and whatnot. The last exercise I do before starting forging is just working on my rotation and hip muscles, lower back and chest muscles, simply by doing a twist. Now of course I will turn all the way around. I keep one arm extended and also in order to extend the shoulder all the way through the chest and the band of muscles that comes round to my lower back, into where a lot of sciatic issues occur. So all the way around, holding there for about 5 seconds, turn to the other side, again turn to the other side. Now a lot of people have the tendency to bounce this movement. Don't do that. That can actually cause issues. Go to, when you're stretching, go as far as you feel comfortable, hold it there, come back to the other side, and on the next time going back to stretch these lower muscles, that's when you can go further. Don't bounce the stretch. You can cause issues doing that. Again, just a few shoulder rolls to loosen everything up. Everything should be nice and flowing right now. If you feel like you need to do any more stretches, go ahead, throw them in. But now, you should be nice and ready and warmed up for your day of forging. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you liked what you saw. Check out the links in the description for merchandise, Speargrass Forge. I'll be releasing a new shirt for Christmas and a new general wear shirt very shortly. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Cheers.